kind of highlighting what they said on, I want to say that was Money Explained, where they say it's hard for people to say because you don't visualize yourself getting old. That seeing yourself 20 years from now, that's like a completely different person. I don't know that nigga. So why am I saving for him? I know I'm trying to go to Atlanta this week and party. Yeah. That's what I do know.
But you just think you have time. You just have time on your side. Yeah.
What up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I'm Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-host, Rozzy and Buff. Fellas, it's been a long week. Tell me what's on your mind.
Not a whole lot, man. Tired, but it's good. Just want to say happy birthday Action coming up this weekend. So
his birthday will be is actually Monday, I think. I don't know Mondays of the week anymore.
Yeah, so happy birthday to Action. We're going to turn up this weekend for you and everything. So, yeah, by the time this show drops, you will have known about it. So, congrats to that, man. And everything else, man, I just want to say, have you guys watched Loki up to the season, episode 3 so far? How you liking it? I just wanted your thoughts on it.
I didn't see episode 3. I saw episode 1 and 2.
I'm going to watch 3 after we finish recording.
Okay. How you liking it so far?
I like it. I'm ready to see where it goes. Yeah.
Episode 2 kind of confused me for a second. It's a lot going on. You have to, like, if you turn away for a second, you're like, so what happened? Who's doing what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, that's true. It's good. I like it. I want to see where it's going. I feel like something special happens episode 3 because you seem very excited.
Episode 3 actually isn't the best of the 3 episodes so far. It's good. It has a lot of kind of reveals in it for like real true fans, but for the most part, it just kind of advances the story. So it's not huge, but it's just good. I'm liking it. I think it's really setting up the whole Doctor Strange and the what is it? Multiverse of Madness. So. Yeah, I think it's doing a good job of kind of setting up the multiverses so that Doctor Strange has to come in and fix it, because I don't think they're going to fix it by the end of the episode or by the end of the show. So, but that's all I got, man. I mean, it's been a real light week for us on this side of the planet. I did do a twist out for Sophie that I felt like came out really, really good. So I'm patting myself on the back for that one. Trying to figure out this whole this dad life and how to do hair and everything else. So trying my hand to do it as best I can. And fatherhood really got me thinking about that because, you know, he was struggling on that little girl hair. So
I'm going to watch that on the plane tomorrow. I still haven't seen it. So I've been waiting to watch it. Get ready
to cut some onions, man. It's got some sad parts in it.
The previews really had me, my allergies acting up. I think because I sent it to you guys, right?
Nah, well, maybe you did, but I remember seeing it. But did you think they balanced it well though, Rozzy?
Hold on, let's know. Give me a day. 24 hours.
No, we wasn't gonna did they balance it well?
Yeah, we won't ruin the plot. Yeah. I think it does a good job of you know, getting to a sad moment and then bringing it back up with some lightheartedness. Yeah. And so even though it'll get sad, they'll throw in some jokes. They'll throw in a light moment to get you back into the movie. So it's very watchable. Even, you know, it's not like uber sad where you're just like, I can't even watch this.
So I could watch it on a plane and not look like a punk?
Oh, no, you're going to look like a punk. It's going to be some parts that you're going to tear up. So, you know, it is what it is. Like, first 15 minutes is hard.
Okay. I'm already, man. So, what you got for us, Buff?
I Am Athlete. I just started watching that. It's a YouTube podcast with Brandon Marshall, Fred Taylor, Chad Johnson, and I think his name is Channing Crowder, all former football NFL players. Man, it is a great show. Like it. You know, you don't have to be a football fan. You don't even have to be a sports fan to enjoy it. It's good. I watched an episode on my way to New York, and on my way back, I watched a couple. Tabitha was watching it with me, and they just really touch on a lot. They remind me of us. They really do remind me of us, man. So it's a great show. They had an episode where they all had their significant others on there, and they were discussing, the difficulties of dating an athlete, like a star athlete at that. So they just talk about it all. I watched the episode with Dwayne Wade, which is really good, which I remember we talked about his son, who's now his daughter. And I remember me saying that I'm not ready to call a 12-year-old, what's the name he changed it to? Zaya?
Zaya, yeah.
But listening to Wade and just the progression, it really has me rethinking that comment, man. It's a great episode. The episode with Deion Sanders. So it's a great show. If you're looking for something to check out, I'm playing catch up on it. I knew about it, but I never watched an episode. But man, those guys, man, I hope that we can reach that level one day because it's really good. And I think we're just as good. They just obviously have a bigger name, bigger platform, but it's a great show.
Well, you make as much as they do, so.
Yeah, Rising, you do.
No, nowhere near it. My boss listens. Y'all forget my boss listens to this show, so I can't be lying like that. Or putting on that I make that kind of money because she gonna be like, from where?
Your OnlyFans with your feet.
Hey man, I'm thinking about it. Those OnlyFans, man, they be making loot.
She in racial chat rooms showing feet. only the Twitterverse will get that.
So I'm gonna keep it light, man. Bottle of that. What did you pop open, Buff?
A little malt Scotch whiskey. I know you want me to say the name of it first, but I won't. Go ahead with your thoughts, sir.
I shall continue because Risey's gonna do it for me. But so that Regina King movie that's coming out. Did you guys see the preview for that?
The Harder They Fall?
Yes.
The Western?
Yes.
With Idris Elba? Bruh.
Yes.
Like, man.
That just
it looks so good.
I'm excited. I don't think I've ever been that excited for just a Western movie. Is it country or is it Western? I don't know.
It's a Western. Okay. It's a Western.
But that looks dope.
Yeah. I haven't been this excited for a Western since Django.
Yeah, but think about it. I'm a little more excited because because Django gave you Jamie Foxx. This gave you a cast of black actresses and actors.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I mean, Lakeith Stanfield's in it. Like it's star-studded. Netflix did it with this one, man, and it's gonna be on Netflix, so you ain't got to worry about trying to spend money to go see it or anything like that. So it looks awesome.
We might do I might do a watch party or something when that comes out. It's September something, but I hope to be home and watching it. But besides that, everything's good, man. Just ready to get into it, fellas. Anything else before we make it happen?
Oh, for the anime fans out there, there's a new show on Netflix called Record of Ragnarok. That's pretty cool. It's like a tournament style anime. So it's just fighting, and it's a really good artistic take on just like old gods. It's got Thor in there. It's got, Zeus in there, and they fight. And the premise of it is the gods want to destroy mankind. They're tired of everything. And then they say, basically like Mortal Kombat, they say, well, we want to, we want trial by combat. And they put the mortals up against the gods. And they bring in some of the like most historic characters like Lu Bu from the Three Kingdoms. Anybody who played any of the old games or know about, Japanese history, Lu Bu was huge in that. And so Lu Bu has to fight for the humans. And then it has Adam as the first man that has to fight against Zeus. And so it's just a really cool take on it. The artwork's cool. It's a different style or look to it, but the action and the fighting is on point. So check that out if you're, want to watch some anime and for the nerds out there.
So I haven't heard that name since Dynasty Wars.
Yeah. Lu Bu in Dynasty Wars. Yeah.
He used to be a beast.
Lu Bu hit the map, you run.
Yeah, you're like, and that was one of those games you really didn't have to really have a strategy. But when Lu Bu came, you hit it. So that's when we used to nerd out big time. hours and hours and hours on Dynasty Wars. Actually, I think I might have bought it on PS4. So, but that's it. Since we're talking about TV, I'm late to the game, but Manifest, I'm still in season 1. Have either one of you guys caught that?
I haven't watched it. I've seen it show up on my Netflix queue. What is it about?
So basically, it's about these passengers on a plane coming back from Jamaica, and on their way back from Jamaica, the plane goes through turbulence. It's like a storm or something like that. Hits the fan, and then everything goes back to normal. They land in New York. They're on their way back to New York, and basically, the pilot calls in like, "Hey, this is flight 828. We're about to land." And like, hold on, say that again. Who are you? And it's like, flight 828. What's your name? My name Buff. And they're like, hold on. Apparently the plane disappeared for 5.5 years. So everybody on the plane disappeared. Life goes on. But the people on the plane did not age. Nothing happened to them. It was instantaneous. So imagine coming back. Jasmine's 5.5 years older. Tabitha's remarried or whatever the case may be. That's your new world. And the thing about it is everybody, so they have these supernatural like premonitions and power. So they're all kind of linked somehow, but they're trying to keep it a secret from the government. It's all kind of stuff. So I don't want to spoil it.
Might have to check that out. It's like explaining after the snap.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
The blip.
And it got canceled. So once you finish season 2, that's it.
I think they said they were coming back for season 3. I'm hoping.
No, ABC canceled it.
Man. Yeah,
they were talking about it, how it's the #1 show on Netflix right now, but ABC is canceling it. Like that goes to show. So maybe Netflix will pick it up and they'll do a season 3. They're really good about that. They did that with Lucifer. They did that with a couple other shows. So maybe that's what they'll do.
Okay, that's what's up. So let's jump into it, fellas. Who wants to go first?
Oh no, Sophie has a joke this week. She has been waiting on this.
Okay, I was thinking you were going to try to give us a joke, and I thought you were going to kind of try to
slide it in. No, yeah, she wants this one.
Sophie,
are you ready for today's joke?
Yes.
We shall.
I chose a very, very good one.
Is that right? We shall see.
Yes. I remember that time when Uncle Ferg got one.
Oh, yeah.
And then he wanted to get another one, but he didn't get it.
How is your summer break going so far?
It is going great.
All right.
So you want to see Sophie?
Yes. Hello. Hello.
It's Z.
Hello.
Hi.
Tell Sophie hello.
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 Hello. Hello.
Say hello.
Hello.
He says hello like you, Skylar. I mean, Sophie.
Sophie. Hello.
Stop.
Oh, we're pressing button.
Yes, you press the button. Don't press the button.
Are you guys ready for my joke?
Yes, I'm ready for your joke.
The joke is, why couldn't the pencil get a date?
Hold on.
Why couldn't the pencil get a date?
Hey, Skylar.
Sophie said, hey, Skylar.
Hi.
Why couldn't the pencil get a date, Skylar? He ran out of lead. He didn't know how to.
He erased it?
Yeah. How to. So, number 2. Marker. He was broken. We got nothing.
He wasn't sharp enough.
I wanted to say that. You got it, Skylar?
Excellent work.
It's okay.
Excellent work.
There's more to the joke.
There's more to the joke.
Sorry, the joke was dull. There was no point to it.
It's all coming back now.
Yeah,
Very good.
tell Sophie bye-bye.
Bye. Bye bye, Skylar. Bye. Bye bye, Uncle Fug. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, everybody.
All right.
We'll be back next week.
Yo, we post so much on Three Brothers. I forgot that was like one of our posts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I think they're gonna know it, but y'all didn't know it. I was like, oh, okay.
I feel like because like sharpen up. That doesn't sound.
Well, I remember when she said it, but I was like, damn, how did that go? I forgot already.
When she kept going, I remembered it.
Mhm.
Yeah, me too.
So who wants to go first?
I thought it was back on you. It can
Okay,
be
I can
Roger,
jump
though.
into
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I can jump into it. So I mentor and stuff like that. I'm part of the Houston Omega Lamplighters, and I try to do my due diligence and prepare a better, world for them. The young men that I mentor and my group mentors, and we have a vast array of young men, from some kids who have some trouble, single parent household, 2-parent households, stellar students, to people who are. We've had some young men who have been in and out of group homes. Like we've tackled it all. But I saw a post the other day where a young lady was basically saying that we're not doing enough for our young men. Not us, just like not the Lamplighters per se, but as Black men, we're not doing enough for our young man. So with the post, and it reads, it's actually from Aunt B. So it says, I don't care how many sections and bottles you purchase at these events, how many parties you throw, how much you brag about the success of your Black business, how fly you are. I really don't. It's an entire problem in Mobile, with specifically young Black boys waking up every day acting like they have nothing to live for. And I'm squinting and even put my glasses on, yet I don't see any initiatives directed towards them. She mentions them seeing these kids on social media with ARs, when really all they need is somebody to help change their direction. Somebody who looks like them, who they can relate to, trust, and listen to. But I guess it's cool because they aren't y'all kids. The idea of a village is dead. End scene. And we actually will start talking about the Lamplighters. And it's like, it shouldn't always be about, putting people in suit and tie and trying to make them, I don't even know, trying to make them whatever. But it was like, we need to start targeting these guys who are these young men out on the corner, and these kids that are dropping out of school. And I know, Risey, you work with charter schools, and sometimes charter schools, not all, but some of the charter schools end up having to deal with some of the troubled students, or students who've had trouble. We've all heard of the school to prison pipeline, which is a sadness in itself. Where should our energy be put, considering that I've heard people say, like, we can't save them all, but can we? How do we go about doing it? Do we put our energy in who do we focus on? Where does our energy best served?
You want to go first, Buff? Because I got a lot to say on it. So
okay, well, I'll be as succinct as possible. So I may have the original part of your question slightly wrong, but when you said she asked or said that men aren't doing enough, and I think you probably elaborated a little further, but I initially thought, well, men aren't doing enough with young boys because, with Black men, we still trying to figure out shit for ourselves as well, let alone trying to mentor younger men. That's just overall in general. And to go back to I'm always going back to The Wire. The Wire specifically had a season and a scene where they were trying to figure out at what age do they target young males to try to help. And the social worker originally thought, 17 to 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds, it's, not to say that you should give up on anybody, but it's pretty much too late. If they're, because you mentioned corner boys on the corner and stuff, Ferg, if they're out there in the streets at that age, more times than likely, it's too late for them. So you want to go younger. You want to start with middle school and younger. But as far as what we should be focusing on, just focusing on that young age range. And I do agree with the woman you spoke to as far as not everybody's meant to be in a suit and tie. And I think it also doesn't tap into the creativity of our culture and these young men. There are so many different things that they can be doing that isn't necessarily corporate or that would necessarily require them to have to put on the suit and tie. Now, with that said, you want to prepare them to be professional as they can and be as intelligent as they can, because you're always going to need those things. But it's not necessarily always finding a regular Wall Street type 9-to-5 corporate America job. We have a lot of creative individuals out there. And I think at the end of the day, we should focus on instilling confidence, because that's like the nucleus of a lot of issues in our community, is that, for all that acting out that we see young kids do and, doing things that get them in trouble, a lot of times is because they were embarrassed with not learning in school or whatever like that. And so they lash out in other ways like that. It's a false bravado a lot of times. So if we can instill that confidence and let them know that they matter and that they are something, I think that may not be the number one spot to start, but I think that's a good spot to start if it's not number one.
So it's so much to unpack in that one post. It's going to be hard. So first of all, yes, I agree. The village mindset is dead, whereas anybody can discipline your child. But I don't think the village mindset is dead when people want to help other people. There's still people out there that really want to help. And when you talk about where do you start as a mentor and stuff like that, I feel like you need to start at your passion. Because if you try to teach kids, like Buff said, I'm trying to teach you how to be corporate and I'm not corporate myself. Maybe your passion is art and you want to help kids through art. Maybe your passion is, I like working on cars. And so I'm a bond and I'm going to show kids how to be mechanics and get them exposed to working with their hands early, or woodwork or whatever. I'm going to just, mentor some kids that way, bring them out and be like, hey, we're going to work on cars today. We're going to go to a car show. We're going to, do something that I know y'all might be interested in, that I'm interested in. And I'm going to start some kind of a club that way. And bring those kids out and give them things and outlets and stuff to do. I saw a group in Mobile actually that was a fishing club. Like they just took kids fishing. It was like, nothing, but it's a way for the kids to get at least a Saturday morning with some successful folks, pick their brain, mentor them, talk to them, befriend them, so that they have somebody that's not going to down them and talk down to them, but still be able to, have conversations that'll advance them. So there are a lot of people in Mobile specifically that I know of that are reaching out and they're doing things for those kids. So there are opportunities for these kids. But you mentioned that you can't help everybody. Some people think that you really can't help everybody. Like Buff said about that 16, 17-year-old that's on the block, you can say, hey, there's places for you to go. But there are people that walk out on those corners and be like, hey, I want to get you out off the corner. And they get laughed at. They be like, man, get off the corner, get away from here or whatever. Churches do that. Church outreach does that like all the time. That's not anything new. So I don't agree with that whole there's not people out there trying to do that and there's no place for these kids to go and there's nobody that's reaching out to them, because there's plenty of places for these kids to go. There's plenty of things for those kids to do, but they have to want it too. The whole thing with addiction and even with a little bit of what that is, that you look at it like almost like an addiction, is they have to identify and know that, hey, I want to change. That's your first step. So if they don't want to change, if they don't want to do it, then a lot of what you're doing and what you're offering them is going to be moot anyway. And so I hate to hear kind of those false narratives of there is no outlet and there's nobody reaching out to them when I know for a fact that there is. You mentioned the Omega Lamplighters. Like that, the Lamplighters aren't all about just putting them in a suit. It really is mentorship and letting them see that they, can advance and go to college and or to a trade school, because they talk trade school just as much as they talk to college. I know our chapter does here, in Birmingham. So there's other outlets for those kids inside of that. There's also, Kappa League, I know, does the same thing. I mean, we talk bad about Kappa League or whatever, just because we're the bros, but they do that kind of same thing and try to advance. Now they do, they're all about kind of putting them in suits and everything like that. I know that for a fact, but that's the kind of beauty of it. Those kids have options of what they want to join and where they want to go and what they want to do. And I think probably the best thing that we might be able to do is maybe do some subsidizing where there's no cost to the kids, because I know there's costs and fees and associated with some of these things. So maybe that we could kind of go in and try to help offset some of those costs. But there's plenty of government programs where these things happen. Like I talked about art. I know there's an art program at the art museum down in Mobile where kids can go in and learn art and learn how to do things, and if that's what they're interested in. So there's plenty of programs out there, but the kids have to want it. And so I think maybe what Aunt B was kind of saying is that nobody's actively reaching out to these kids. But, at a certain point, this kid's got to have some kind of responsibility or personal responsibility too, especially teenagers. Now, if we're talking about younger kids and there are a lot more outreach towards younger kids, because like Byron said, I think that's when they're trying to catch them. And they are kind of giving up on those teenagers and those upper level, almost adults. Because at that point they're so ingrained, it's just hard. It's just hard to really kind of catch them and do anything with them after that.
Well, there's a lot to unpack for me, so I'm gonna keep asking questions because I have a buttload to say. So you guys both had some great points, and I definitely love what you were coming with, Byron. Like, you have to start young because that prison to pipeline really starts around the second and third grade, sadly enough. And I mentored second and third graders, and I saw it. I saw it firsthand, and I could see why they think that and why that's a possibility. So there's only so much time in a day. We all have families, we all have stuff to do. If you had an hour a week to go mentor somebody and save somebody, the question is, do you go talk to the Tavares Ferguson in high school, 9th, 10th grade, who's a pretty good student, kind of rough around the edges somewhat, but just has all the potential in the world? He just needs somebody that can grab hold of him and point him in the right direction. He's probably going to be okay regardless, but just how great could he be if he got mentored by a Risey or a Buff? Or do you go mentor Ferg, who's in the streets? He's been in and out of juvie. You know what I'm saying? He's a single parent household. He out here doing what he need to do. He's not a bad kid, but he's just kind of out there, he's doing his thing. If he doesn't get help, it could get bad. Where does your time go? Is there a right answer to this? Because continue. I'll let you guys answer that. Oh, you get the gist. It isn't,
Yeah, I think that was more rhetorical because, like you said, there is no right answer. I mean, it's just which kid can you deal with is the thing, because everybody can't mentor Ferg is the other part about it, and they may not be able to really connect with Ferg because they may not have that life experience and Ferg's not going to respect them or whatever. So everybody can't connect with them. Like, I could probably go and mentor Tavares, but it may be very hard for me to mentor Ferg. You know what I mean? So I can try. I definitely can try, but he's not going to receive me the same.
Yeah. And I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, and I don't know what triggered her post. But I definitely, hearing you read it, and I do remember that post, I do see frustration. And that's why I like what Razio said in pointing out that there are people that are doing that, because we see that with Black Lives Matter when a black person kills another black person, every once in a while you get someone that say, y'all always got something to say when it's a white person doing it, but when a black person does it, y'all aren't saying anything. And the truth of the matter is there are so many organizations and people and groups that are addressing, the problems that come with, quote, black on black crime or stuff like that. There are people out there putting in the work, but because you don't see the results, I mean, the problem is so vast and so big. And when you don't see the results, you do get frustrated. And I understand where people are coming from when they let that frustration out and say things like that. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. And her post reminds me of people that say those type of things when it comes to, I always say, quote, black on black crime, because that's the great Brandon said, that smart MF, black on black crime is a myth.
It definitely is. And again, kind of along that same lines, when she mentioned like the folks on Facebook or folks on social media posting guns and stuff, that is the minority of our black kids. And I want everybody to understand that most of our black kids are the Tavarises. They're the kids that are, they're good kids. Maybe they're the Fergs, but even Ferg wasn't a bad kid. You know what I mean? And so that's most of our kids. I mean, and so, you might have 1 or 2 kids. You might have 5% of the population that's, posting guns and dealing drugs and everything, but that's not the majority of our kids. So let's not try to make it seem like black kids are bad because of those actors.
But I don't think she's saying they're bad. It's just...
I mean, I don't think she is, but I'm just saying in general, like it comes off like that.
Are we investing the energy? And is our energy directed in the right way? So I'll start backwards. When she said the village is dead, I think it is on multiple levels. For one, is our priorities have changed. We're too busy. We're busy. Like I have a lot going on. I have to find time to do everything. It's does the average person have time, or is it a priority for them to go mentor somebody who, like she said, ain't y'all kids? You're taking care of home. That's hard enough. You're trying to make sure your kids don't end up one of those statistics that she's talking about. Then you look at society where you can't reprimand anybody. You look at the school system, and you're working in the school system. Well, with these charter schools rising, and you have a lot of parents that see their kids do no wrong. So how can I help your kid with, in your mind, your kid already got it together? How can I chastise or change their way of thought when, and I hate to sound cliche, we got babies raising babies. When they think the stuff that their kids are doing are cool. When you're trying to change that trajectory, you only can step so far. I want you to make my son this A student, but, don't give him no homework. Teachers have a hard time disciplining kids and stuff like that. And just to talk about that, I think another thing when we talk about where you spend your time, we always forget about mentoring parents. Because a lot of times, I can spend an hour with your kid a week and I might make a difference. But if I spend an hour with the parent a week and teach them, better parenting techniques, anger management techniques, how to talk, communication techniques, actually, you might make a bigger difference in that child's life than if you spent that hour with that child. How many parents gonna let you tell them how to raise their kid?
I mean, I understand that.
But that's how they gonna see it. That's how they gonna see it. There's programs to help with parenting. And so, that's another aspect that we have to think about too, is helping the parents parent instead of just trying to mentor the kids all the time.
And Ferg, you're right. But I think there are parents that really want what's best for their kids.
They do.
And they just literally don't have any answers at all. I do. And they want that help.
I deal with it all the time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just amazed how the parents come to me and just, because there's some good kids, really good kids. All my boys are good guys. I mean, they just have different personalities, going through different life. They've been presented with different struggles. But the parents come to me and I'm kind of like, this is new to me too. I don't have all the answers, I can help point you in a direction. I can help find programs, but it's very interesting. I think there's a lot of people out there with goodwill. I challenge people too, you know. I think first thing she was kind of mentioning is like we can have all these accolades, we can do all these great things, but look within. Are you giving back? I think that's where it starts. Are you giving back? What are you doing? You know, no matter who you decide to mentor, how you decide to mentor, is it art, if it's getting involved in Big Brother programs,
coaching Little League,
whatever it is,
all of that.
What are you going to do? It starts there, but it's about the youth too. You got to get there. But then once again, okay, now he's 15. Is it too late? You know, you're willing to give your energy to an 8-year-old or 10-year-old, but Risey wasn't mentoring when this kid was 10. So you weren't there. Do you put your energy to the next 10-year-old, or you still try to help that 15-year-old? Because that's my thing. One of the challenges with my Lamplighter programs is I do want to help them all, but we don't have the bandwidth. Do I have Ferg and Tavares in this program, and I'm taking away from where Tavares could go because I have to go back and pull Ferg up? Like, we can't move forward because Ferg doesn't want to be active. He doesn't want to be part of it. We're retrogressing because of other people. Or do you say, like, you know what? I'm going to get a bunch of Tavareses and I'm trying to turn them into a Mr. Ferguson. I'm trying to turn them into this person. Like, if I can get a Tavares and a Risey and a Buff and stuff like that, yeah, it would be great to get Ferg. But I always think I love you guys like brothers. And Risey, your dad was great, but I feel like were there things that if you raised you, if the things you know now, you were able to impart in young Risey. I don't know what the conversation you and dad were having, but Byron, same question. If you raised you, if you had you as a resource, where would your life be today? You know, when you said you wanted to go away to college, would Byron have made Byron go his ass away, go to college? I'm not saying I raised myself, but I made a lot, and you guys knew me, I made a lot of decisions on my own with little to no guidance. Risey, I was asking you guys questions I'm at 18, 19 asking y'all questions like y'all got the answers. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing is it wrong to say, hey, this is, you know, if this kid doesn't get help, his life might end up being hell. But if I help this kid, he could be destined for greatness. I think we're all great, but I could only imagine if I had one of you two, or one of us three growing up, mentoring me as a young Ferg, as a young Tavares, any one of those. So that's my challenge. It's like, how do I, do you just let everybody in? Do you close the door and say, hey, I'm focused. My energy's here. I'm best served doing this, taking good to great, or do you say, hey, I'm trying to take everybody because I just want it. If I can get everybody to good, then we're all good. Once again, no right or wrong answer. It's, depends on where your energy is. If you have a kid that you're just trying to get to good, then you're damn sure going to say that, just go help my kid. If you have a kid that's good and you're like, man, I feel like you can bring out the greatness of my kid, you're like, leave Ferg alone. Focus on Tavares. It's self-interest sometimes, It's a dilemma, man. I want to save everybody, but it doesn't. It doesn't happen, And it's scary, man. Especially once you start really imparting yourself in those kids' lives, and you see it, and you watch them grow, and you want the best for them, and then you see the good and the bad. You see the failures or the roadblocks. I'm not going to call it failures. The roadblocks, and you see the successes. So. I'm done, man. I can talk about mentoring all the time. That's my passion. Ferg, love the kids.
Definitely. So what we got? You up, Buff? You want it?
I went first last week, didn't I?
I think so.
Yeah, so you can take it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna lighten it up. So I don't know if y'all saw, but the Migos said that they should be on the Mount Rushmore rap. and not
Wrapped
as
in
like
paper?
a group, but they literally said that each one of them should be on there, and I don't know who should be the fourth. But with that, you know, we love our Mount Rushmore discussions. So I want to know, who is you guys' Mount Rushmore of groups? So, you know, two, three guys together. What's your Mount Rushmore groups? Because we always talk about individual artists. We always exclude Outkast because
We
they're
talk
a
about
group.
rap.
Any group.
Band
That makes,
too.
that makes it even
music.
tougher. That makes it even tougher.
So I can go EWF, right? Or they're
Yeah.
a band or they're a group.
Yeah, that's a band group. Yeah, you can go Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah.
You know,
that is extremely tough right there.
I got it. I'm gonna go with my first thought. You study long, you study wrong. EWF, Jackson 5, Any, and Cass. Walking away.
Okay. All right.
Maybe UGK.
See, that's when it gets hard, right? It's like
8Ball MJG. Any, Boys to Men. Jodeci.
see.
Dun, dun, dun. Definitely. EWF stays. Go Buff, so I can.
I'm just gonna stick with the rap genre. It's much too difficult to do all of music. I'm gonna go Outkast, of course. I think Outkast should be on everybody's Mount Rushmore, not just it should be on everybody's Mount Rushmore. Just put that there. Wu, and I'm not even a Wu-Tang Clan fan for real, but
You gotta respect.
you can't talk rap groups and not talk Wu-Tang Clan. And to be honest, I wanted to put NWA on there because of how influential they were to rap. I mean, they pretty much started what we call gangster rap. But I went with UGK and Ghetto Boys. And they got to have Ghetto Boys on there because for me, being from the South, they were the ones that really started without them, you don't get a Master P, you don't get a Cash Money Records or anything, or you don't even get an Outkast. They started it in the South, and they brought us Scarface, who, if we were doing solo artists in hip hop, he would be on there. Yes. So
you put Scarface on your
yes,
on your Mount Rushmore?
yes,
Okay, all
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, you haven't heard this. He faces.
If you ask any top, you ask Jay-Z, Scarface is up there. Scarface is definitely face. But yeah, so Outkast, Wu, UGK, Ghetto Boys. I probably should put Hot Boys on there, and I may change my mind before this is over. Because if you think about it, Hot Boys literally brought us 3 solo stars.
Superstars.
Yeah.
Superstars.
Yeah, superstars. BG, Juvenile, and hell, we talking about solo artists. Lil Wayne is on some people's Mount Rushmore solo artists. So, but I'm gonna stick with that for now. But I may change it to Hot Boys before this conversation is over.
All right, Ferg, what you got? So we're gonna let's focus it a little bit. We'll just say rap at this point.
And Ball and G is my favorite, by the way, just so people know I'm not biased. They're my favorite, and I didn't put them on there, but they're my favorite group.
That's what I'm thinking. Like
of all time.
I was coming back. I was gonna take a step back. I got to do Cass.
I try to measure impact and popularity, and it's kind of because 8Ball, they never really got the popularity impact like nationwide for real. But so that was my decision making. Go ahead, Ferg.
You got to have Cass on it. I mean, it's almost unfair.
Yeah.
You know, it's just.
It's like you naming 3 spots. Yeah,
they're like the free spot on bingo. You know, the free space. UGK. I mean, they represented, dog. They just.
Some of my favorite concerts was. Oh, let me stop. I want to get into mine.
I can put No Limit on there.
Yeah.
No Limit made they brought rap to the world.
But No Limit technically isn't a group. Are you talking about True? Are you talking about the 504 Boys?
My answer is yes. No limit.
It's okay. He kind of
That's a
cheating a little
cop-out,
bit. Okay, so I want to say Death Row then. How about that?
So I can't do No Limit.
No, we're gonna say no. We can't do labels.
But they that's the thing. They made labels a group. Like they changed the game to me. Like
I do feel like every last one of their albums was a No Limit album because they had so many features and everything like that. It's like it really didn't matter whose album it was.
So he can say
Other than
true.
you knew that person was gonna be on every song.
Yeah, just
like
say true.
they made it like I wasn't excited for stuff to come out like that since I was getting Happy Meal toys. Like you just knew when it was going to drop, or a toy in a toy in the cereal box. Like you were just waiting on those albums to drop, but we can't get that.
You could always say true.
True was P, Murder, Silk.
And that was it, right?
Yeah.
They were
Nah.
only true members.
Yeah.
That was one more, right?
Nah, that was it.
Because I mean, you know me, I liked Fiend and Mac, Mystical.
Yeah, they weren't true
That's why I said No Limit,
as
bitch.
a group.
By the way, Mac about to be a free man. Oh, he is a free
Yeah,
man.
free
Yeah,
Mac,
so-
yeah. Got parole.
I guess I got to default to Wu. I mean, like they just individually they were just superstars.
Yeah, I
They
was gonna
just
say, yeah.
I'm trying to think who's that fourth spot though.
Well, you're a Locks fan.
And kind of like talking about it, like Wu was an actual group and not
Yeah,
a label,
yeah.
even though they had so many people on it. They
Yeah.
literally were considered a group.
And No Limit is like Rough Riders. Like Rough Riders, they kind of
Yeah.
mixed up the whole group record label thing.
So I guess
Yeah.
I might have to do the Hot Boys because the Hot Boys were a group. They were a rap
Yes.
super group, but I don't want to do the
Mhm.
Hot Boys. I just I feel like I'm cheating myself.
It's hard to argue not having the Hot Boys on there, to be
I
honest.
know, but it's.
Yeah.
I feel like they were the boy bands of rap groups, man.
They were.
Yeah,
They were.
yeah.
They changed the game
They made
as
me
a group. NWA did the same, and that's why it's so hard not to put them on there.
Okay, Rising, come on. But it's all they made me say bling bling.
They did. So for me, Cass Given, yes. My wild card actually is Tribe Called Quest. I
Tribe.
love
Tribe.
Tribe.
Yeah,
Tribe was, man, like
you and Tip.
yeah, Q-Tip, like the low end theory, man. I played that like record out until it popped for real, and then I bought the CD and I played that until the scratches were so bad that I couldn't play it anymore. Like I love low end theory, so Tribe Called Quest for me, hands down. Wu, of course, because that is my favorite group behind Outkast. But again, Outkast is like they're in a league of their own. But so for my fourth, it was really hard out of UGK and Ball and G. And I talked about like my favorite going to like concerts and just like small groups. Like I hung out with 8 Ball for a whole night one time, just like hung with him. Like he was at the Platinum, and one of my homegirls knew the owner, and like her and my line brother called me like, "Hey, Ball is here in VIP, and we just chilling. Come on." And so we just hung out all night with 8 Ball. Coolest dude, hanging out, having fun. Then he just impromptu said, "You know what? I'm feeling it," and got up on stage and like rocked the show. So it was like one of the best nights of my life, just like musically. But like Byron said, UGK had Pimp C by himself. Like when you think Big Pimpin', how you changed that International Players Anthem, then you talk about their actual albums. I
have to remind myself that Big Pimpin' is Jay-Z's song.
Yeah, forget Big Pimpin' though. International Players Anthem is
stop because I was going to actually
okay. It's a top 5 rap song of all time. I'm sorry.
So we're going to do a segment then. I was going to let y'all know. I wanted to do, because I saw this somewhere. We're going to take like songs with features, top songs with features, and we're going to do versus the verse.
I like that.
Who had the
best verse?
Best verse. So we'll do that next week. We'll do a post. But we're gonna do a bonus round for your question, Rozzy. Record label.
Yeah. Remember, I asked that way back in the day.
Oh, we did.
So-
The best record label.
Oh, favorite record label.
Yeah. So
Remember, because I said Slip and Slide, and y'all got on me real hard for that.
that was your favorite record label.
Yeah. Like just that whole Miami bass music thing. But
See,
I didn't
why does it-
understand the difference in Atlanta bass music and Miami bass
It was
music
completely
because I
different.
kind of lumped them all together.
I didn't
But,
like me.
We getting off topic. UGK is my last one. I picked UGK. I'll throw that out there. Ferg, did we get your your last four?
I was trying to make Migos. I'm gonna go Hot Boys, dog. They made me say
Gotcha.
bling bling.
Not a bad.
They almost made me get tattoos on my forearms too. I didn't tell y'all about that. That's when I really that was Ferg thinking.
Murder. He did that with SWAT.
Yeah,
He did that. Yeah, he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said what they almost made me do because
I got one on my forearm, but not like how Marquise has. Yeah.
I can't do it. I thought about it.
All right, Buff, what you got, man?
Oh man, I really should have went before you because my question is intentionally boring. I think we touched on it in an earlier episode, but I'm so obsessed with it. And when I have questions like these, it's one of the reasons why I like doing this show because I can ask you two brilliant brothers, and your answers will more or less be for me than it will be for the audience. But hopefully, it'll be for the audience as well. But I'm obsessed with having enough when I retire. You can ask Rozzy. We have exchanged messages over the years on like, hey, check out my TSP now. What you think? How much you think I should have? And he's like, it depends on what type of lifestyle you want to live when you're done working, things like that. So you guys can be short or as long as you want to be, but in your opinion, what are some things that you are doing to make sure that you are preparing for retirement? Because I think there is some type of formula that some financial planners use. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Rozzy, like whatever your salary is, a certain percent should be going to this and going to that. So what are you guys doing to make sure you are prepared, and what is like the best advice you can give someone to make sure that they are prepared and not having, and this is no shade to anyone that greets at Walmart, but you don't want to be in a position where you work 20 or 30 years and you have to go get a job in your 60s and early 70s.
I'll start because Roger's going to be way more in depth than mine. First of all, I think you have to acknowledge that you need a plan. Because, I've talked to people recently and it's like, man, I'll start planning for this at 50, 55. I'm like, because they don't play like they don't understand how retirement works. Social Security is only so much. I think what does Social Security max out like $2,500 a month or something like that? Not much.
It don't depend on the full amount. Whatever that projected amount is that you get every year, don't depend on that. There's a chance it could be a little less.
So good point, because that is retiring at 67. But I mean the basics. Match out your 401k. Well, not max out your 401k, or at least max out the match. Max out the match. I've started opening investment accounts. I rolled over old 401ks into our IRA and starting to pour more into that. I'm focusing on investing now. I'm focusing on multiple levels. So it's, active investments, passive investments, just like stocks, or, before we got on the call today or we started recording, we were talking about investing in a startup. Also, additional streams of income. We've talked about right now. We have a photo booth business. I'm part of an investment group because I'm trying to find ways to increase my self-worth. Taking that photo booth business, building our capital, reinvesting into the business where I have active income, and our goal is to be able to take that income and invest into our retirement. And one of the biggest things is just lower our spend. Like you have to set a budget, or we've set a budget, and our goal, Z hasn't worked in 2.5 years, and we're fortunate enough where we can live off my income. She's looking at entering the workforce and being able to say, hey, we're going to take that and try to invest the majority of it, and that's not the situation for everybody, but I guarantee most people can find a way to lower their expenses. Still live, but lower your expenses. And prioritizing retirement. I advise everybody on this show to go out and watch Netflix, The Money Explained. There's an episode on retirement. Did you watch that recently, Byron?
Yes.
Everybody I talked to in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm like, that has me nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And realizing your truth, like realizing where you're at. My biggest gap right now is my retirement funds. We live comfortably, but we're not where I want to be, where I think we should be, or where I know we should be with our retirement. The good thing is we're in a situation, God willing, if we continue on this path, we can make up for lost time. But you got to look at it. Look at all your options. Rising give you more detailed strategies, but this is just from a novice, somebody who's just saying, hey, you got to do something. You got to change what you're doing. Most likely your 401k is not going to be enough. Most likely your Social Security is not going to be enough. And if you don't have an investment account or pension, even like paying off that house, the equity in that house, we're looking to get into real estate and buying multiple properties. Those are all things we were talking about. We've talked about multiple investments on this between us, and making those happen, because all those investments are not to make my life better now. All those investments, every investment I'm trying to do is a way to build my retirement.
All of what Ferg said is spot on. I think the hard part, or the most important one, is time value of money. Start early. So anybody that's, just in college, about to finish out, parents who have college kids that's about to start a job, first thing you need to do is tell them start for their retirement as soon as they start working. Whether it's I graduated high school and I started working, or, I went to college and I graduated college, now I'm starting to work. They need to start early. Time value of money makes a huge difference. Starting at 20 and starting at 35 for retirement it's a life and death, really, when it comes down to, retirement. I always say at least 10% of your income needs to go to your retirement. That's an easy number that most people can feel comfortable with. That maximize that match from most companies only match up to 5%. Now, if it's a little too much for you, maybe you do the 5%, and most companies match up to 5%, and that puts you right at your 10%. Because the company matched that, and so you're still saving about 10%. So if you're feeling kind of the pinch and you can't give the 10% right now, at least go up to that match like Ferg said. But what you want to do is try to ratchet it up each year so that you can get up to at least that 10% of your salary that you're saving. Along those lines, make sure you're paying yourself first, meaning that if you get a new job and you make more money, don't go out and spend or expand your bills to cover that. Make sure that you ratchet up your 401k or your IRA contribution so that you are saving for retirement. And know your number. And yeah, I know there was a commercial out for a long time talking about that, right? It was like this financial firm. They were talking about know your number, know your number, know your number. Your number is how much you really need to be able to save so that you can produce enough income to live on in your retirement. And you need to know what that is. And it's different for everybody, right? So if you make $40,000 or $50,000 a year, your number is going to be different than somebody making $200,000 or $150,000 a year. So you need to know your number so that you know what you're saving towards. Because without a goal, it's very, very hard. You're going to have a whole lot of anxiety just because you don't know if you're saving enough or not, right? Without knowing your number. So if you know your number, at least you know I'm on track, I'm behind, or I'm ahead of the game, I'm good. That'll help you a little bit.
How do you find your number?
So your number is usually a real quick, easy way is if you're just trying to replace your income, if you want your money to last forever, you can only take about 45% of it a year, right? And so whatever that number is, it's 5% of whatever that number is to replace your income. So that's what your number should be. There's some calculators on online, and what we can do is we can post one of those calculators and I'll put it in the show notes so that you guys can link out to it and kind of find that number. So
I think what's hard for a lot of people is to realize that, think about you 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
That number, if you were to retire today, is different than that number 20 years from now. We're all 40 now, a little more than 20 years from now for some, So right now I got a mortgage. I got 2 kids. I'm trying to get through college and, daycare and all this stuff. House paid off. You might want to get
right, and that was one of my next things was talking about that for in retirement. One of the biggest things that I do and I tell folks is pay your house off before you retire. You should not have a house note in retirement. So if you are 30 years old, you can do a 30-year mortgage, right? Because you want to say I'm retiring at 60. For simple math, you want to retire at 60. At 30, you can do a 30-year mortgage. If today we went out and we got a mortgage at 40, you need to refinance for a 20-year mortgage. And you need to make sure that you can afford that, right? So don't go get a huge house because you want to move into a big house, but then you put it on a 30-year mortgage because that means that you're going to have a mortgage when you retire if you try to retire at 60 or 65. So, just in your head, think whenever you're refinancing or when you're buying a house, you want to be able to finish paying that house off by the time you retire. And because that's usually most people's biggest expense, right? Is their house. And so if you can pay that off before, like you said, your number goes down because you don't need as much income to be able to live because you don't have $1,000, $2,000, house note every year that you have to worry about paying. So that's a huge, huge relief off of you. And that's less income that you have to produce from your retirement accounts. So those are kind of the big ones that I would say is paying that house off, starting early, putting 10% in, and knowing that number so that you can feel comfortable that you're either there or not. And then kind of backing into, so how much do I really need to put in to make my number? And then figuring out how to get there slowly if you need to, but you need to try to catch up so that you can retire at it. And think through, if you have jobs that have pensions and things like that, that lowers your number because now you have a pension, so you don't have to try to produce as much income. If so that's a huge thing. If you have a job, military, folks like that, teachers that, have a pension, that's going to help you as well as, you can always put that Social Security in there. Like Byron said, you can't count on it. What I do just to kind of hedge my bets, I use the 70% of whatever that number is they send every year. I put 70% in there and say, okay, I'll probably get 70% of it because, how Congress and everybody wants to act right now. We don't know if we're going to get it all. So, you can use that, then add on your pensions, and then figure out what your number is that you need to bring in every month. And so that'll lower that number that you need to actually save for retirement. Because a lot of people, especially if they're in some of those fields that have pensions and stuff, they're a lot better off than they think they are based on, that.
Yeah, sales on those pensions. I ain't worked for a company yet. But the thing about it is you can't do nothing.
Yeah, it is.
That you can't do nothing. I don't know how many negatives that was, but you said a lot, Razi, because I think people avoid it. And I mean, I'll kind of highlighting what they said on, I want to say that was Money Explained, where they say it's hard for people to say because you don't visualize yourself getting old. That seeing yourself 20 years from now, that's like a completely different person. I don't know that nigga. So why am I saving for him? I know I'm trying to go to Atlanta this week and party.
Yeah.
That's what I do know.
And you just think you have time. You just have time on your side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the tough part, man. It's scary. I mean, I've made some bad decisions when it came to. I'm not gonna say bad decisions. I made decisions that I felt like I needed to make at the moment, but I knew in the long run I'll have to pay it back. You know, and I say that because a lot of times I don't know if people just think we make all the right decisions and we got it made. I've cashed out my 401k multiple times to do things that I needed to do. When I look back, if I could go back and change it, you know, and I would, but it's like it was a necessity at the time. And I know people have done that multiple times. They use it. 401ks are like money in the bank. Shout out what you think.
Mm-hmm.
So what you got, right? Buff?
So my answer is pretty much some of it is repetitive of what you guys said. So if you're a listener, I would just say take my advice as the beginner's level, Ferg as the mid, and then Rozzy as the expert level. Because the things I do right now, for one, if you pay off a big bill like a car or something like that, continue that. Just put it in your savings or your investment, but like have it automatically. Like you're not gonna miss it. Like if you were able to pay that car month to month for years, then now you can, like Rozzy say, pay yourself with it. If you had a job, first off, if you had a job, try to get you a career. You know, pick up some type of trade or go to school, but try to get you a career. But if you have the type of job that gives you a raise every year and you have that 401k, or in my case, a TSP, raise how much. If you're not contributing the max, then raise whatever percentage your raise is, throw that in your TSP, throw that in your 401k. You were living without that raise. Don't change your lifestyle when you get that raise. Put it in there at least until you get to that max contribution level. And the important thing is, I know most people know this, but for those that don't, I don't think you can save your way into retirement. Like having a savings account is great. Don't get me wrong, it's great because it's a large percentage of Americans that have zero savings. But I don't think that's going to help you as far as something to live off of in retirement. So you want to try to find investments to get into. I know everyone became a overnight stock expert during the COVID.
To the moon, to the moon.
but you know, just make sure you contribute into those 401ks and things like that, and just do a lot of what Ferg and Rozzy said. And I think the most important thing Ferg said was do something, have some type of plan.
I know Rozzy doesn't like this, and I'm not saying it for myself, but I would say insurance is a potential. And I'm saying not on yourself, but you know, making sure your loved ones who are getting up in age have insurance, because a $50,000 insurance plan that you cash out 5 years from now, what could you do with $50,000 cash in 2026?
Yeah, definitely.
I wanted a preface. I want to make sure you understood. I'm not saying go get whole, or, you know, I'm saying like, hey, if you need to, if you can take out insurance plan on multiple people in your life, you know, if you invest $100, $200 a month, you know, you got a couple of insurance plans, you could, you know, $50,000 here, $50,000, and it might not come, you know, it might not come today. It might not come 5 years now. I don't plan on retiring for 20 plus years. You know, if it comes at year 2021, that's $50,000, $100,000 that I didn't have. So I know there's mixed emotions about that, and it sounds kind of morbid, but, and then because also it could be a liability, because at the same time, make sure you hedge your bets. I know all the people around me that count on me have insurance. For one, because at the end of the day, in my family, if something happens, somehow, I think Byron was saying like they look to you for that. I need you to cash out. I need you to make this happen. So
yeah, it is actually a huge benefit for your retirement for your family to have insurance, because a lot of times they're going to look to you because you have those retirement savings. They think you're balling. They're going to look to you when it's time to bury that loved one, or that parent or grandparent. It's expensive to bury people, and so definitely have those insurance policies there. I did before we kind of get into partner shots. I did want to throw you just a quick rule of thumb that may help out if they have just some rules of thumb for how much you should have saved at what age. And so they're saying at 30, you should have 1 times your salary. So not too terrible, right? You know, if you make 55, you should have 55 saved. At 40, you should have 3 times your salary saved. A lot of people don't have that. That's actually really, really hard. And that's why I said, start early, because if you start early, you can get there. And then at 55, they say you should have 6 times your salary. And so that's that quick math for your number for that, they estimate. So whatever your salary is, you should have 6 times that. And that should be enough to kind of sustain your current lifestyle. Now, again, like you said, as I get raises, I get promotions and stuff like that, that number changes and it fluctuates. And that's the hard part of it. If you get promoted quickly, you're not going to have 3 times your salary at 40 if you got a huge raise, 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago. So that's the hard part about it. But that's a quick, easy rule of thumb for anybody to kind of want to see what their number should be, what they should have saved. But definitely go talk to a financial planner or somebody that can help you with retirement to get your actual number.
I got depressed again. Partner shot, fellas.
I mentioned a couple episodes ago, we're closing in on our 100th episode, and I did not get Razi's permission to say this on air, but I'm going to say it. We have been discussing starting a YouTube channel for the show, but we don't know how much work there's going to be for Razi, so it's not a 100% certain thing, but that is something that we have discussed, and I, for one, hope it comes to fruition, but I won't be the one that's doing most of the work. So, but I just wanted to let the listeners know that we are constantly thinking of ways to make this platform bigger and better and more enjoyable for you guys. So we hope you are continuing to enjoy us, and we love the feedback that we get. We love the interaction on Facebook, man. Y'all wow on Facebook, by the way. Some of those posts, man. I literally, I know people type LOL all the time. A lot of times I'm literally laughing out loud at some of the comments on there. So thank you guys for that. And as I said before, we're closing in on 100 episodes. So we're open to any suggestion. Please hit us up, 3 Brothers No Sense on Facebook or Instagram. And let us know if you have any ideas on what we should do for our 100th episode. This is show 95, by the way.
Yeah, for me, I just want to say happy birthday to Mom and Dad. My mom's birthday was on Father's Day last Sunday, and my dad's this Sunday coming up.
Time out. So did your mom, I know your mama for God knows how long. So did she take over Father's Day?
Yeah. So
well, Bobby, it's my birthday.
His Father's Day stuff, but
Bobby,
it's
my birthday too.
Yeah. So yeah, she couldn't let him have just happy Father's Day. She had to have her birthday too. So they were down in Mobile with my sisters and everything. So yeah, I already said congrats Gigi with the new baby, and Perry being a first time dad. I know that's huge. So happy Father's Day again to everybody from this past Sunday, but definitely happy birthday to my parents, who's kind of seeing me through everything. Like Ferg said, saw a lot of other people, mentored a lot of folks, touched a lot of people's lives. And so, they deserve every birthday that comes and all the accolades and congrats that comes with those. So love you guys.
All right. 2 quick things. So shout out to Aura Lisa. It's a Black-owned jewelry company. They're helping me get my ring back. I actually lost my wedding band. And I don't know how. I feel like it's in the house somewhere. I only take it off at home, and every blue moon in the gym when I'm doing certain exercises. And I haven't been able to find it, and it's been driving me crazy. So I was able to get a new ring. So I've ordered it. It's in town. It should be shipping soon. So if you're looking for jewelry, Aura Lisa, go if you're trying to support a Black business. And I just need to take a second. You were talking about us approaching 900 episodes. And I had to take a second and give a shout out to my beautiful wife, who's been like so great from day one. because she's always been pushing me to say, baby, you have a lot to say, not just because I talk a lot, but you have a lot to say. And there's people that you could help and they need to hear it. And she was always trying to get me to write a book, but I felt like being able to say what I needed to say fluidly, consistently, because my thoughts and life changes was so much better. So there would not be Three Brothers without her. And the fact that we record every week. So to the families that allow us to get away, period, because this is 95 weeks of us getting away, for a couple of hours every week. So shout out to the families, the kids, everybody, because when we do this, it's taking time away from my families. We were talking about mentoring and all the things we do. And, this takes time. But it wouldn't be without you. But also just because the world's opening back up and I've been traveling a lot. I had a lot going on, even to the fact just going to Birmingham and Atlanta for Razi's birthday, and you've been holding it down, babe. So I really appreciate it. We get to hang out this weekend, Razi. She'll be drunk, trust me. So if you see her, buy her a drink. But
gotcha.
Just shout out to you, babe. I really appreciate you. I probably don't say it enough. What's crazy, it's easier for me to say it here to the world than to her face to face sometimes. The world knows how much I love her and how much I care about her, probably to a fault. But sometimes I don't say it to her the right way. So, babe, if you listen to this episode, whenever you listen to it, you'll listen to it one day. Love you. Oh, second sappy week. I need to do some gangster, man. Razi, put some Outkast on this one. Like, take us out with some cast or something. Like, I need some gangster.
Yeah, so you saying our Sonic brand ain't gangster enough for you, Ferg?
I need some gangster.
Folks love that. They love that. They love it.
we had the acapella version of it today. This week.
Yeah, that was.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Shout out Ani and the kids. Yes.
just add some gunshots around when he's talking to make him sound more thugged out.
All right, I can do that. I can do that.
Go through so I can be gangster earlier. I can build my street cred, and then I can kind of, like an R&B. I'm almost like an R&B thug.
I feel like the bleeps emphasize it more. It adds more oomph than actually like letting it there. Go through.
Okay, add some bleeps in there for me then.
All right, cool. Like,
yeah. So, but no, we really appreciate everybody, man. It's been a great week. Looking forward to recording. I'm looking forward to the 100th episode. We got some plans. We got some things we talked about. So we'll make it happen. Three Brothers No Sense, week 95. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Love you, Sky. Love you, TJ. I know I was going to put y'all in bed tonight because Daddy's been away, but I had to record. So if you listen to this 20 years from now, forgive me.